Greta Thunberg, welcome back to The Daily Show.
Thank you so much.
Last time I spoke to you, you had just ridden like a catamaran across the ocean. What do you prefer, commuting on a catamaran across the ocean or just doing a Zoom?
I mean, it's nice to go on a catamaran, but it's also much more practical to do it over Zoom, to be honest. Of course, I've had my bad moments with Zoom and online classes, and it gets a bit tiring sometimes sitting every day on Zoom, just watching your own face. It's not pleasant.
You see, Greta, this is why I love having you on the show. You speak to my soul. You have had a whirlwind journey. You know, obviously you've risen to prominence as a climate activist, Times Person of the Year. You've been nominated twice for a Nobel Prize. In the past 3 years, has anything changed since I've seen you? Have we made progress on the planet? Where do we stand right now, in your opinion?
Well, of course, you can see it in many different ways, but if we can look at one way, that's that the emissions are still rising, and 2021 is currently projected to see the second highest emission rise ever recorded. As you know, we've been through a pandemic, and there's lots of talk about a green recovery and building back better and so on, but only about 2% of government spendings have been spent on clean energy, and that's, I mean, it just shows that we are not really taking this seriously, it seems like, or at least the world leaders are not taking it seriously.
I felt like for a long time, polluters have done a really good job of convincing everyday people on the ground that they are the ones who are responsible for what's happening. They go, what is your carbon footprint? What is your journey? What is your life? Whereas the major polluters themselves, they manage to, just move through the conversation unscathed. From a world leader's perspective, not people on the street, what should they be doing that they're not doing?
The basic thing of treating a crisis like a crisis. We climate activists have been saying that for many years now, and I think people haven't really understood that until the pandemic, because I think in the light of the pandemic we really see that we can actually treat a crisis like a crisis, and I think that people understand that more, that the climate crisis hasn't been treated as an emergency, that is already taking lives and livelihoods for so many people around the world, and it's only going to get worse. But yes, as you say, it's a bit strange that the focus is often on individual action rather than actually systemic action and government action.
There is a huge meeting coming up, and that's going to be the COP gathering, where some of the biggest nations are going to be gathering. I think it's going to be in Scotland, discussing what leaders and what nations can do. There are many leaders of many nations who have said it's just too expensive for countries to all of a sudden turn green. Others have argued that, you can't make enough, you can't generate enough energy from green sources. When you hear this, what do you think of, or what is it that they're missing or maybe trying to avoid in their conversations?
I mean, I understand that the climate emergency is very uncomfortable. It's not something that makes you popular. It's sort of an icebreaker. People don't like you if you talk about the climate crisis. But when they say like these excuses, like it's too expensive, climate action is too expensive. I mean, just look at the corona pandemic. We were able to, it seemed like just like magically make up lots of money out of nowhere. And it's much more expensive to wait and deal with the consequences of the climate crisis later on than actually taking climate action now. And that's just something that many people seem to try to hide, because, as I say, it is very uncomfortable, and lots of economic interests are playing here. And it's these big players, they are not kidding when they try to silence people who speak up on this.
When you talk about it as Greta, people listen. I do wonder, though, on a personal level, do you ever get tired of being the person who everyone expects to speak about climate change? Like, do you ever walk into a room as Greta and just want to talk about something you watched on TV, and people are like, oh, Greta, tell us about the weather and the climate and everything? Like, do you ever get tired of that?
Oh yeah. Don't get me started. I mean, I'm so tired of talking about the climate by now. And people always try to tell me like that I should be impressed by them. Like, I took the bike to work today, and they look at me and like, okay, I don't care. I don't want to talk about this anymore. And it's really like that.
If you were to say to somebody, hey, here's how I think you could actually make a difference as an individual, what would that advice be?
just find out the truth. And if you fully understand the climate crisis, if you read enough that you fully understand it, you will know what you can do as an individual. And then I think, at least in my experience, most people who have become fully aware of the real implications of the climate crisis have become activists and gone out on the streets, organized themselves, whether it is joining an organization or becoming a part of Fridays for Future, or just campaigning locally or online. People seem to talk about the climate crisis as something depressing that makes people become numb and not want to do anything. In my experience, it's the exact opposite. That fully knowing what it actually means is something that makes you want to do things. It makes you active.
Before I let you go, I know you're going to be attending some big events. I know you're going to be speaking to world leaders. I know you've planned major climate strikes in places like Milan and Germany, etc. So you have a lot coming up. But I wanted to ask you a few questions, you know, because everyone knows about Greta Thunberg when it comes to like climate things. But I feel like I would like to know more about you as a person. So I have this little game that I devised, which makes no sense, which is what makes it a good game. And I'm going to ask you to choose between one of two things and which one is worse for the climate. All right, let's do it. TikTok versus Snapchat. Which one is worse for the climate?
I don't know. I don't have any of the apps, but I guess like
Wait,
if
you
I
have
just
none
think
of, you have
outside.
no TikTok, no Snapchat?
No, people tell me I need to get it, and I'm like, no.
Well, no, if you got TikTok, you will never talk about climate ever again. You'll just be like,
Okay,
yeah.
that would be nice actually.
It's a lot of fun, but then it's like, Greta, we'll be like, Greta, what do you think about the planet? And you'll be like, I don't know, but here's a cool video of a dog singing.
Okay, nice. Then maybe, I mean, dog singing is so much fun.
It really is.
Climate. Yeah. The logo for Snapchat is yellow, and the logo for TikTok is black.
Yes.
The Snapchat logo is brighter. That means it consumes more energy when the screen lights up.
Wow, that's what I'm talking about. Snapchat, you cancelled. All right, here's the next one. Puppies or kittens? Which one do you think is worse for the planet?
Oh no, you can't do that.
It's a tough one. I mean,
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess dogs in general are bigger. They consume more food, and I guess that's. But if you start thinking about that, then you're screwed. You can't blame dogs for these kinds of things. They're too innocent.
But I'm still gonna go with dogs are cancelled. You're out, dogs. Greta's, you're dead. It's over for you. We're doing a great job here, Greta. I'm loving this.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tell my dogs that. It will be nice.
Okay, the Eiffel Tower or the Statue of Liberty? Which one is worse for the planet? The Eiffel Tower has all the lights that come on at night, like a lot of lights. It's beautiful, really gorgeous.
Yeah,
the Statue of Liberty, she's burning that torch. She's been burning it for a long time. I mean,
burning carbon.
Okay, so Eiffel Tower wins. All right, you see, this is good. I'm preparing you. This is what world leaders are going to be talking about when you get to the COP. And then you'll be prepared now because of me.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Greta, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate that you inspire me and so many other people. So yeah, have a great night and good luck.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Greta. Take care. All right, everyone. Be sure to follow the hashtag Fridays for Future to learn more about upcoming global climate strikes.